Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Weekly Pickup Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The NFL Weekly Pickup Show is brought to you by BetNow.eu. For a cashback bonus on your first deposit, use the promo code TRUTH100 at BetNow.eu. I am your co-host for this NFL Pick'em Show, Mike Goodpaster. And right now, I would like to welcome in my esteemed colleagues. First up, Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Schmitty?
Doing good, and you almost forgot what show you were doing.
No, I didn't. I almost forgot who I was
Oh,
doing
yes,
it with.
you did.
Well, today
Yes, you
I've
did.
done an NFL show with Anthony. I've done an Indiana basketball show with Kent Sterling, and I've done a Xavier basketball show with Andy McWilliams. I've done a CFL show with Robert Drummond, and I did like a 45-minute conference call with my other coaches from my high school team because we play next week. So I'm pretty much talked out. So that's why my other co-host is here, Scott Wilson, because he's never been a shortage for words.
No, I am not. Hey, I was right on the Browns game last week. I think I was laughed at. So I think I did pretty well. I picked the Bengals game, and I know I picked that one.
I don't think anybody laughed at the Browns game. Yes, you were laughed at the Bengals game, and you lost.
What, did I?
Yeah, the Bengals didn't cover. The point spread was not 37. They weren't Kent State playing Alabama.
Okay, we need to listen to tape on that, but whatever. You're probably right. So, yeah, let's go.
All right. Let's just go ahead and start this off because I'm tired. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Cleveland on Thursday night to play the Cleveland Browns, Scott. The Cleveland Browns are favored by 2.5 points.
Okay, so I think the Steelers, they're surprisingly in playoff contention, and I think in the Cleveland, I'm going to go with the Steelers on this by touchdown. I think Cleveland, because they were able to snap it, they had a 4-game losing streak that they snapped, but now it's a whole lot different against the Steelers. And I just think the Browns, even though the Browns' passing was improved, I don't think that's enough to get by Pittsburgh. Mike, I'm kind of leaning more towards you about Mayfield. I'm not really. Again, I don't like giving you credit, but I kind of have to. So Mayfield, I don't know if it's just talent or if it's just his ego has been crushed. So anyway, it doesn't matter. I think Browns are going to, or Steelers are going to win this.
All right. Also, Matt Andrews-Cabbage can't be on tonight because he is under a 1-week suspension because of the constant browbeating and mocking of Scott Wilson, and I will not have a teacher made fun of on our show. All right, Brian,
thank you, Michael.
What do you think? Pittsburgh at Cleveland? Cleveland by 2.5.
I can't even. Jesus, that's so true.
I said last week Pittsburgh is going to win with their defense, and they've got to turn it into a wrestling match, which is what they did against the Rams. I mean, that was a ugly game to watch, but that's how they've got to do it. They've got to play with defense. Rudolph is not playing terrible, but the play calling at times is just atrocious. Right now they don't know. They don't know what to do right now. They get Connors back, which is going to help, but they just don't know what to do at times. It's like, who do you get the ball to now? We don't have anybody here. Everybody's hurt. With that, I'm going to take Pittsburgh. Just they're playing hot. There are a lot of people that with Fitzpatrick, they said, well, they gave up a number 1 pick. What are they doing? And that's proven to be, a great trade, and now here's a guy that's in line right now, one of the guys possibly to be a defensive player of the year in the NFL. They're just playing lights out defensively. It's kind of back to the old Steeler ways defense, and I just think that if they can turn this thing into a physical kind of a wrestling match kind of game, that gives them a chance. But the thing is with doing that is as good. You can win some games like that, but you're going to lose some games too, because offensively right now, Pittsburgh's not going to be able to win a game when they've got to score a lot of points offensively. Their defense is going to play solid, get them some points, but if they've got to score 30, 35 points offensively, they're not going to do it.
All right.
So with that, I'll take Pittsburgh.
I'm going to agree with you guys. I think it's Pittsburgh because I think Pittsburgh plays football the way it's meant to be played. They don't play the PlayStation football of Freddie Kitchens, Jared Goff, and Opie Taylor, who they beat the hell out of the other two, and they're going to beat Cleveland. The Pittsburgh Steelers man up and they play football. I don't think Mike Tomlin's a great coach, but I think he's a great motivator, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the less talent Mike Tomlin has, the better coach he is, if that makes any sense, Brian.
That's 100%. This year, right now, is Mike Tomlin's best coaching job that he's done since he's been in Pittsburgh, and the reason being is he doesn't have a whole lot of talent around him. He doesn't have the big name killer bees kind of thing. He's just putting, from a standpoint, they go out there, they play with an attitude. Defensively, they go get it. I love what they're doing defensively. Their secondary, which was one of the worst in the NFL, has now turned into one of the best. And they get after it with pressure. The unsung hero defensively has been Dupree, who was a guy that a lot of people in Pittsburgh couldn't wait for his contract.
Well, he was
to be
a
up
bust
this year,
until this year.
Yeah, and now he's been lights out. So, a lot.
Maybe it's because his contract's up this year.
It could very well be.
All right.
But right now, it's working.
All right, that's enough Pittsburgh Steeler talk. It's not like me and Scott drone on and on about the Bengals, so straighten it up, Schmitty. Next up, the New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints are favored by 5.5, Brian.
Yeah, boy, they played so bad last week. But I think they'll cover this. I'll go with New Orleans.
All right, Scott.
God, he's right, Brian. They were awful. I had some little money riding on some of one of the Saints receivers. Jesus, that was not fun. I'm going to take the Saints too. I just don't think Jameis Winston. I just don't trust him. And this is the kind of game that Jameis Winston, I think the fans down there are pretty fired up. Hey, we want. I don't trust that guy. I think even though this defense they're allowing 31 points, so they're actually worsening it than the Bengals. So they're 32nd. I'm sorry, close, but
they're nowhere close to as bad as the Bengals. The Buccaneers get a pass rush. The Buccaneers can play. They're just a young team that's lost a few close games.
I predict Jameis Winston is going to do something, pick six, something in the second half is going to cost him. My opinion.
All right, I'm going to go with the Saints just because they're a better team. Last week was an anomaly. It happens in the NFL where you lose games you shouldn't. I think Jameis Winston, you can find 2 bad games he's played in over half a season. I think he's catching a lot of crap for no reason this year. I think he has played much better this year under Bruce Arians. But I'm going to take the Saints to cover this also. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons will travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Falcons are getting 5.5 points. I'm going to go with the Panthers to cover this. I like Kyle Allen. I don't think he gets enough respect. I still think the Atlanta defense is not very good, and I still think, as I said, last week's game was an anomaly because most good teams will lose to teams they shouldn't, and most bad teams will get a couple cheap wins every year, except for, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to take the Panthers, Scott.
Okay, so this may just be a green night for everybody. I agree with you.
Well, it's because we got rid of the bad apple Matt, who always wants to pick on you.
Thank you. Well, see what happens to bullies? Things happen.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So, Matt, I know Matt will listen to write down the picks. Matt, you've been called out. Go ahead.
So, I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have a pretty big game. I think the Falcons – now, the problem is the Falcons' defense is or the Panthers' defense, they're allowing it's over 130 yards per game, and but they're only averaging not even 80 yards on the ground. So I think the Panthers are going to win,
I got you, Brian.
I think that.
Good. Brian
That's
dropped and had to call in. Are you there, Brian? Brian.
Well, either way,
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, go ahead. Keep talking. I'll call Brian.
I think the Panthers can trust Kyle Allen to run this offense. The Falcons defense is, I don't know if they're ever going to turn it around. I got a buddy of mine. He's a big Falcons fan. He's just miserable with their ownership.
We got you. Turn your car down. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I think McCaffrey, he's going to cost a lot, but he's going to be, fantasy owners are going to score a ton with this guy. I think he's really fun to watch play. I think McCaffrey's I think he's actually underrated. I think he's really, really good between the tackles, and he's got a quick burst. He's strong as hell.
All right, so, Brian, everybody else so far has picked Carolina. We got Carolina, Atlanta in Carolina. Atlanta is a 5.5-point underdog.
Yeah, I'm going to take Carolina. Atlanta, I don't trust them. They've not played well. I mean, last week they did, but I think that's more of a 1-week wonder. And I like McCaffrey. I think he just does everything well. I think Carolina will win it.
All right, next up, the Denver Broncos travel to Minnesota. Denver is a 10.5-point underdog, Scott.
Okay, I like the Vikings even more and more. That was a big-time impressive victory. I'm going to take Vikings on this. I think, who's their quarterback? Brandon Allen for the Broncos. I think there's going to be a big challenge for Denver, and they have no chance in this. I think the Vikings are going to win big in this, probably close to 2 touchdowns.
I think they have a chance to cover because we saw a team like Washington go in and with their defense shut it down a little bit. Minnesota's a team that will have a tendency to just try to run the ball a lot. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Minnesota. I almost pulled a Scott in the mat there for a second. But I'm going to take Minnesota. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota. I don't trust Denver at all. And Minnesota will do enough to cover the spread to win the game. They may not be world beaters, but they'll do enough.
All right, next up, Brian, the New York Football Jets, who now are the New York State champions this year, will travel to Washington to take on the Redskins. Well, I guess they got to play the Bills yet. Or they probably.
Who are they playing?
The Jets are at Washington. The Jets are Jets are 1-point underdogs.
Okay, I was wondering where the Bills were coming from. Yeah, I'll take the Jets. I don't like this Washington team at all. I'll take the Jets.
All right, Scott.
I agree with him. I think the
Wait
Giants,
a second, because you're the man that told me Dwayne Haskins was going to be a stud in the NFL.
No, well, I mean, you can't. The Jets are. You're talking about the Redskins. They're like the Bengals. It's with that ownership. It's just you don't go there to win. So I think I agree with you. The Jets. I think the Giants. The Jets got to win because the Giants' defense was so bad. But I still think that they've got a pretty good rush defense, and they're going to separate themselves from one of the. The Jets aren't very good, but the Redskins are bad. So that's my take.
I'm actually going to agree. Next up, the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. I'll start this one off. What is the line here? The Bills are favored by 6. I'm going to take the Dolphins into points, Brian.
Ooh, going there. I'm going to take Buffalo. I know the Dolphins got one, but I don't trust them. I'll take Buffalo.
All right, so now we come down to the tie-breaking vote, which is Scott, which will let us know which one of us is wrong. Scott, go ahead.
Matt, you and I need to hang out some more, or at least one. So,
Matt's not here. You know that, right?
Or Brian, I'm sorry. My bad. Sorry. God. Okay, Jags. For at least one more game. So I think I'm going the Bills on this.
I was right.
You said it was a 5-point spread.
6.
Or 6. Miami's on a rant. They got a 2-game win streak, but I think Fitzpatrick he's notorious for he doesn't throw out consecutive games in a row where he does well more than like 2. I think he's going to have a really bad game here.
I think Fitzpatrick's a good quarterback. I think he'll have a bad game here, but I don't think Buffalo can score enough points to beat almost anybody by more than 6. Hell, the Bengals only lost to them by 6, I think.
Well, they're going to lose to the Dolphins probably, or worse.
All right, next up, the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Houston is a 4.5-point dog, Scott.
God, this game is what makes it fun to not really care about the Bengals this week, because this game's going to be awesome to watch. You got two quarterbacks that are competing for MVP. I don't know if what Lamar Jackson. I mean, I think he's an amazing athlete. What he did last week, but the Bengals are so bad. It doesn't. I think the Texans. I'm going to go with the Ravens on this. I think the Ravens. I don't know. Lamar Jackson is just so hard to game plan against. I think Baltimore. And they've got a really good rushing offense. And although Houston's not too far behind, I'm going to go with the Ravens on this.
All right, Brian.
I'm going to go with Baltimore. I think it's going to be a great game. It'll be a fun game to watch. But this Baltimore team is pretty darn good, and they play. They've been playing really well right now. I think Lamar Jackson is definitely the MVP of the league right now.
Oh, come on. Over Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
I would put
come on.
him over
Wait a
Wilson
second
right
now, because Lamar Jackson threw more interceptions in one game against Pittsburgh than Russell Wilson's thrown all season.
Lamar Jackson's playing better.
You're an idiot if you think Lamar Jackson's playing better. Go ahead, Brian.
But here's the thing. While I agree with you about Wilson, here's the thing. You know the MVP is always going to be on media perception. And media perception, right now is Lamar Jackson can do no wrong.
Well,
he's playing well right now.
I'd rather have Deshaun Watson, too.
Well, my two quarterbacks that I like most, obviously, I like Wilson and I like Watson. But, again, we're got to look at what most people are going to say right now, and that is Jackson's playing at a high level. So, with that, though, I think Baltimore's going to win this game.
All right, I think Houston wins the game. Just like when I picked Houston to beat Kansas City, the difference here is Deshaun Watson is a lot better than Lamar Jackson. The team may not be, but Deshaun Jackson will will his team to either win this game or lose by less than 5 points. So I'm going to take Houston. Next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 10.5, Brian.
That may be a little too much. Arizona may not win this game, but I think they'll lose by less than 10. I'm going to take Arizona.
All right, I'm going to take San Francisco because I just think they're a lot better team. They came off a game that they should have won. I'm going with San Francisco, even though the point spread does cause me some consternation. What do you think, Scott?
Mike, I'm going to agree with you. I think the 49ers are going to win this by a lot. They've got a pretty rough stretch coming up. They got the I don't know what order. I know they they got Baltimore, they got New Orleans. I think they got Green Bay, and the 49ers gave up a lot of rushing yards, exposing their weakness the first time they played. I just think the Cardinals' run game is a serious mess. Kenyon Drake is awful in pass protection. David Johnson, his career may be done. He's got knee and ankle injuries. And the 49ers pass rush defense is pretty impressive. I think he's really fun to watch. And I just think Arizona, they may be able to get their ground game coming, but the Cardinals pass defense it's not really good. I think they're giving up 70% of their passes completed, and the 49ers offense is really efficient. So I think the 49ers number 2 run offense is going to run all day off the Cardinals as well. So I think the Cardinals, they're going to blow them out by at least 2 touchdowns.
All right, next up, Scott. The New England Patriots will travel to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 4-point underdogs at home.
Well, this is the kind of game I think Belichick is, part of my mouth, really pissed off. And from a coaching standpoint, I've seen you coach really irritated.
No, you haven't. I've never been irritated. I'm always calm, cool, and collective. And if you're going to keep trashing me on air,
right
Scott, we could suspend you for a week too.
I do remember feeling like you wanted to punch me when I was refereeing the game, but it was because you loved me.
I felt like I wanted to punch you almost every time I've ever talked to you.
All right, what game are we? All right, no, I'm kidding. I'm gonna. I think this is actually going to be. It's going to be a good game for a while. I think this point spread is too low. Belichick's going to send a message. The 49ers, their defense is really good. They're allowing. I think. No, they're 26.
We're not talking about the 49ers. Yards. You know that, right?
No, I mean I'm not. Okay. I know that. I mean the Patriots. The Patriots defense is not doing really well, which benefits the Eagles. I just think I'm just saying that's what I think is an advantage for the Eagles. I think the Patriots just have a really good defense. I think overall, it's going to be. I just think Belichick's going to put a schooling performance on against Philadelphia this week, and Belichick kind of a game where he's going to show kind of a middle finger to the whole league and say, "Look what I can do."
All right, so you took New England. Brian.
New England, correct.
Brian.
I'm taking New England. Yeah, I'm taking New England. Belichick's going to come in there. These are the games where they always play well, coming in, especially as a road team, and they'll win by 7-8 points.
Yeah, I think this game's a toss-up. I think the difference in this game is Philadelphia's secondary has been atrocious this year. The Patriots can't run the ball. They won't need to. I think the Patriots win a close game. I kind of want to take Philly in the points, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go with the Patriots. Next up, we have Scott's Cincinnati Bengals getting 10.5 points at the Oakland Raiders. And, of course, we'll let Scott go first. Scott?
Yes.
Make your pick.
I'm picking the Raiders, and there's no reason to pick the Bengals ever right this year. They're 31st in the NFL in yards per carry, 5.2. Teams could just run all day. They will beat the Bengals. The Bengals can't. I do think the Bengals will score close to 20, so I think it's going to be like Raiders 34, Bengals 17.
Okay. Brian.
Yeah, I'm taking Oakland. You can put the Bengals against your high school team, Mike, and I'm still taking your high school team. So.
Yeah, because I'd be coaching them, and I ain't getting out coached by Opie Taylor. That ain't ever happening because that guy is a pathetic disgrace to football, as are the Cincinnati
we'll
Bengals.
See what happens.
Hey, you know what? Wait a second. He hasn't even won a game, Scott.
Okay, he inherited a dog crap team.
No, he didn't. He inherited a team that Marvin Lewis won 6 games with last year.
Tell me the last good linebacker the Bengals drafted.
What's that got to do?
Besides Odell Thurman. I'm just telling you.
What about this? How about this?
They don't need linebackers.
How about you going to listen? Jermaine Pratt is absolutely pathetic. Who drafted him?
I agree. Right now, I agree.
They could have gotten Mac Wilson in like the 2nd or 3rd round, but instead they took Drew Sample, who did catch a pass for 3 yards this week. So don't give me that crap. When Andy Dalton and A.J. Green were both healthy and Marvin Lewis was coaching, the Bengals were 5-4 and in first place in the AFC North last year. And then A.J. got hurt, and Marvin got fired, and now you don't win no games.
Well, I think he's got to get a new defensive coordinator in there because that guy is their defense.
Hey, Scott, let me ask you this. Who hired the defensive coordinator?
I agree with you. I know where you're going with this. What I was told was that Zach Taylor would have to hire somebody who understands he does not. And hasn't done it, and he's failed at that. He's got to fix that.
So what has he not failed at?
He's a creative mind on offense. I just don't think they have.
He's a what? He's not an offensive-minded guy.
Okay, well, what is he, a defensive-minded guy? Because he coached
No.
quarterbacks.
He's a basketball coach. He didn't coach quarterbacks.
Okay.
That's a lie. He coached 1 year last year as a quarterbacks coach. The year before that, he was a
Wasn't he
wide receivers coach.
He was the quarterbacks coach at Cincinnati, wasn't he?
No, he was the offensive coordinator for Tommy
Offensive
Tuberville's
coordinator,
team,
okay.
and
All
it
right.
got Tommy Tuberville fired.
Tommy, that team was already crap. You can't blame
Exactly.
that on him.
So, if Tommy Tuberville,
come on.
we all agree is crap, and then he decided to hire an offensive coordinator, and he picked Zach Taylor to be his guy to help save his job, what's that tell you about Zach Taylor that he got chosen by Tommy Tuberville?
Look, I don't know, but we'll see what happens if they get talent.
Really?
So, that's
Really? It's the
Yeah.
NFL. Every team has talent.
Look,
You know
I
what? You look
understand
at the
that, but
Oakland
you're talking
Raiders.
about the
Hold on.
Bengals.
Hold on.
You're
Look at the
talking
Oakland
about the
Raiders.
Bengals.
Shh. Listen.
Jesus.
The Oakland
What?
Raiders, you don't have to use the Lord's name in vain to make a point
Sorry.
when you get disgusted.
Sorry, Jesus.
So,
Sorry.
this is the thing. The Oakland Raiders don't have a bunch of talent. They just don't. Now, Derek Carr's a good quarterback, but nobody thought he was. He was treated like Andy Dalton. Still is. Josh Jacobs did help, but defensively, they traded away Khalil Mack. They got worse on
Yep.
defense. But the thing about the Oakland Raiders is they're coached by a grown man, and they are treated like grown men instead of PlayStation
Now,
football.
why do you keep calling him Opie Taylor? Seriously, why do you
Because
why
he
you
looks
can't-
like a 12-year-old from Mayberry that was probably breastfeeding from Aunt B because he's a pathetic
has a-
excuse for a man.
He's healthy. He's a nice person. I met him. He is
I don't
nice.
care. I don't want a nice person. I want a football coach. How many really
Well,
good
this-
football coaches
look,
have you
he's
met
cut
that are nice
Preston Brown.
people?
He's
Brian's
cut
not a
Preston
nice
Brown.
person.
The
I'm not a
Marvin
nice
Lewis would not
person.
have cut.
And Brian will
With the
tell you
Marvin-
he's not a nice person, won't you, Brian?
Absolutely.
And I'm not a nice person, am I, Brian?
Would the Bengals have
Not
cut
that I know.
Preston Brown
See?
last year?
But, Scott, you're a nice person. So you're drawn to nice
Thank you.
people. Nice people lose.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
And you just said that he's a nice person. And he loses.
Okay. Is there a car running?
No, that's me trying to get the hell out of here because it's driving me nuts talking about Opie. I call him Opie Taylor because he looks like a little kid.
You take on him. I think you're mean to him.
Yeah, I am because I think he's pathetic. And this is the thing.
You're basing this on how many games has he coached?
8.
He didn't even coach the season.
Jim Wilkes got fired
Give
after a
us-
season
give-
last year. Most
Okay, look.
teams, there's no place in the world you could
You
go
wanna go
0
back
and
to
16 and
Marvin?
keep your job.
You want to go back to Marvin Lewis? No. No.
Yeah, I'd go back to
give
Marvin
the-
Lewis in a
look,
heartbeat.
Look, if there is no improvement next year, I'd say you need to consider
Why
looking
do we
elsewhere.
have to wait when he's obviously failed? If he goes 0 and
Because
16, wait, Scott.
Mike, what coach was going to win with his team?
Scott,
Who?
I
Who would win
guarantee
besides
you, any
Besides
good
you?
coach would win with this team.
With how? With what offensive line?
I'm talking about winning a few games. They would go out and get offensive linemen. You can't tell me there aren't
Well,
guys on the street or guys on practice squads that are better than freaking Bobby
I don't
Hart.
disagree, but
And
they
Billy
don't do
Price
free
is
agency,
pathetic.
Mike.
And you know what? What they need to stop doing is
What?
drafting Ohio State players, especially offensive linemen, because they're all
No, I
coached
agree.
like women.
Look, I agree with you about that. I love Ohio State, but you're totally right about that. Ohio State offensive linemen are terribly coached.
I'll take Ohio State defensive linemen, but
Oh, hell yeah.
offensive
Now,
linemen.
yes. Yes, the best part about this season is Chase Young will be playing for the Bengals next year.
I hope to God he isn't, because if they pass on Joe Burrow, they're nuts.
If you have to take Chase Young. He's a once-in-a-decade talent.
Nope.
Yes, I'm
Joe
telling you,
Burrow is special. Joe Burrow
Oh, my
is,
God.
put it like
I don't
this.
want- Chase-
How about
Chase Young is a
this? Shut
leader.
up, Wilson. You're going to let me talk for once. Now I see why Matt treats you the way he does. All right, let me
Sorry.
explain this to you. Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, their teams are not that talented. They will their teams to win. Joe Burrow wills a team to win. I would take Tua. Tua playing on a bad ankle damn near brought his team back to beat LSU. I want guys like that. Chase Young plays defensive end. That's great. You know, we've got Carlos Dunlap, who's pretty damn good, that we pay a lot of money to. Who else? Well,
Yeah.
you know, you're the one that tells me you love Sam Hubbard from Ohio State.
No, I think he's good, but I think Chase Young's better than the Bosa brothers.
But that's not the problem. He's not better than the Bosa brothers. He's not better than Nick
Hell
Bosa.
yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Have you seen a picture of somebody did a freeze frame?
Oh my God, are you going to tell me about how
snap.
sexily he's built? That's what you usually do right now.
No, not yet. But he's got some good hair. But the ball snapped, and no one's moved, and he's already like beyond. I mean, he's already probably 8 to 12 inches.
Hey, let me
across
explain
the line.
something to you real quick. This
you.
year, hold on. I think Chase Young is going to be a stud too. But do you remember Big Daddy Wilkinson?
Different mentality.
No, hold on.
No.
Hold on. Listen. This is the thing. Big Daddy Wilkinson had all these sacks against the 3 worst teams in college football.
Look, I don't disagree with that,
Listen to
Mike.
me. Chase Young has not played anybody yet. I think he is that good. But I also think if you have a quarterback that you know is a franchise quarterback, it's more valuable than a defensive end. I guarantee you right now. Hey, let me ask you this. Right now, if you're starting a team, do you take a prime J.J. Watt or a prime Deshaun Watson?
Prime Deshaun Watson, no question.
Because he's a freaking quarterback.
Yeah,
and they're hard to find.
He's proven. I mean, you could see it in college. He's a proven winner. But again,
so was A.J. McCarron. You can't see that in college. You cannot see. Brian, can you see exactly who's going to be a stud from watching a college football game?
Generally speaking, no. You can tell guys are going to be good and possibility studs, but you don't ever know.
Yeah,
I can remember back in the day. You remember back in 91.
Yeah.
When people just talked about Klingler was going to be great. And
yeah, exactly.
I can tell you that, I mean, the thing is, I agree with you, Mike. If I'm the Bengals, I'm taking Burrows in a heartbeat. I think he's going to be a good, possibly stud quarterback, but he is a guy that you have to build your team around. If you're the Bengals right now, that's the guy you got to take.
So that is the guy you got to take. But what if Finley plays and shows promise?
He didn't.
No,
and
but
he's not.
Mike, I understand, but what if he improves over the course of
I don't care. Do you think Ryan Finley could turn out to be a all-time great NFL quarterback?
I don't know, but I think he has tools that
you don't know.
You can do something.
You know what? I hate this because your biggest shot at Andy Dalton is he doesn't have the arm strength. Ryan Finley doesn't have 3/4 of the arm strength of Andy Dalton.
I don't disagree. No, but I think he throws it more. He's more accurate to receivers.
Really?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, as long as the throw is inside of 15 yards.
Look, I'm telling you, he's going to play well Sunday. You watch. The Baltimore, he went against Baltimore's defense.
Which is not very good.
You know who Dalton went against his first game? 4-12 Cleveland. So, big difference.
I hate to tell you this, but Baltimore's defense was considered not that good until the last couple of weeks.
Well, you can't gauge it against Cincinnati, but going against the mindset of they're going to show different coverages, different blitz schemes. I think that's really tough for a first-game quarterback. That's tough.
Well,
for you, Mike.
We've seen multiple quarterbacks. This is what's good for me. What's good for me is watching guys play with fire. I don't give a damn how well they play. My problem with Baker Mayfield is all his fire is negative anymore. I want to see a quarterback with positive fire even when things go wrong. Because the two most important things to me with a quarterback have nothing to do with what you think they are. You think it's being accurate, reading the defense, and having a strong arm.
No, Mike, I agree with you. You have to have some kind of...
To me, the only thing that matters, if I'm looking at a kid to tell whether I think he's a quarterback or not, it's two things. And number one is how tough he is. Number two is how smart he is. I could teach him how to throw the ball good enough to get by. But very rarely can you teach a kid toughness. I mean, you can make a kid tougher, but there's kids, when they walk on the field, you know that they are in charge of this shit. And with a quarterback, it's like if I'll watch a team get off the bus at our high school game, and with no jerseys, I can usually tell who the quarterback is. And if I can't tell, that means we're about to kick the crap out of somebody.
So if the Bengals can trade down and get Burrow and somebody else, I would do that.
No, they can't. They have to take Joe Burrow. Chase Young does nothing for this team. How would Chase Young change this team this year?
If they have the number one pick, they're going to take Chase Young. Trust me, they will.
Hey, trust
because
me.
he's a once.
So he's not a once-in-a-lifetime player because the Bosa's, J.J. Watt. No.
But
to
Mike,
sit here,
I've
wait a second.
seen
Do you
Larry
realize
Johnson's
right
Mike,
now? I don't give a.
just-
Fuck. I don't
I'm
care
just
what
telling you.
clinic you went to.
All right.
It's a college clinic for high school coaches.
Larry
You're watching-
Johnson is amazing.
Oh.
He's the best defensive line coach in America, probably in the NFL too. He's
Oh, okay.
phenomenal.
Then why wouldn't he be
Go
in the
up there and
NFL
watch
and make
his
more
clinic.
money?
What?
Why wouldn't he go to the NFL and make more money?
Well, he's making almost $1 million for Ohio State a year. He's paid pretty well.
I think the NFL pays better.
Well, I don't think he's interested.
Well, unless
he's
you're a
really
Bengals coach, then you won't.
Well, yeah. But so I think the Bengals have. I don't think any coach was going to win with this team. That's just a part that people are criticizing. Yeah, he's got faults, but what coach was going to win with this team? Besides Belichick and the San Francisco coach, what the hell is he?
San Francisco coach. Now they're going to win with him. You know what? I could tell you who they could have won with. They could have won with Mike Tomlin. They could have won with John Harbaugh. They could win with grown men, because I can tell you this. The reason I coach football over any other sport, because it's the one sport where I can take a team that's not as physically gifted as the other team and beat them on toughness. And you know what? When you sit there and you tell me that guys in the NFL can't be tough and can't be coached tough and can't be taught to win, it's utter bullcrap. We watched the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills have a good defense, but they don't really have any quarterback play. Their running back's been hurt all year, and they're 6-3. They're not very talented. So when I look at this, when you tell me that, well, not any coach could win with them, I've seen coaches win with talent this bad before. You know, the 2002 Bengals were worse than this team. The 2001 Bengals were worse than this team, but they found a way to win 3 or 4 games.
Well, I think this team, you've got a different dynamic. With Joe Mixon, you've got to get it. Taylor's smart to give him carries because at least he can showcase himself, and I think that's a delicate situation because Mixon's about a year away from being like, screw you guys, I'm out. If he doesn't get carries.
Who is?
Mixon's a talent.
Who is?
Mixon.
All right,
Joe
you know why Joe Mixon would leave? Because he wants to go somewhere where he's coached by a grown-ass man and he can actually play football.
Taylor he's over 30. I know.
Don't make you a grown man because you're over 30 now when you want to play PlayStation all the time.
Well, I don't. How do you know? Does he play PlayStation? Do you know that?
Yes, every Sunday I watch him do it on TV.
Okay. That makes total sense. That's
How
the
about
best
this,
point
Brian?
you made all night.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I totally understand what you're saying. And one guy that would have won at least 3 games right now is the guy they fired last year. Because as much as I was not a big Marvin Lewis fan, he would have won 3 games right now. He would have won 3 games.
Look, maybe, but their defense would have been better, but their offense would still be just going nowhere.
Hey, you got it. You got it. You just said it. You just said Opie Taylor don't know what the hell he's doing because he's supposed to be an offensive genius.
Talking fake news.
You just said his offense sucks.
I said the offense last year was going nowhere.
And you said this year's team sucks, and then you changed it. They're
did
going
not.
nowhere. Last year's offense was
Now I'm
infinitely
getting
better than this.
misquoted. Misquote alert. Call the misquote, please.
Well, and my final thing to this is, you actually said it, and you were right. Marvin Lewis would have won 3 games because defensively they would have played a lot better. Much like
you did say that.
Flip over to another coach. Me and Mike for 3 years we talk about Tomlin and Lewis from a coaching standpoint. But why is Pittsburgh in the playoff hunt? Because he's getting everything out of that defense. Offensively, Pittsburgh's terrible. Same thing with the Bengals right now. Bengals are terrible, but the thing is, 2 things would have happened with Marvin Lewis. One is they'd played better defensively, and 2, he would not have made a bonehead move of taking Andy Dalton out.
And also this,
so they would have
A.J. Green would have been back by now.
Taking Taking Dalton out was the smartest thing he could do.
No, but taking Andy Dalton out made it so A.J. Green is never going to be a Bengal again.
His contract, you can cut him. His contract is really friendly at the end of the year. You're done with him.
Oh, my God. Hey, Scott, you realize doing that made it so you'll never get A.J. Green on the field as a Bengal again. He knows that this is stupid.
Let's just say Finley shows promise, and there's some winnable games they have. They got the Browns twice. They've got some winnable games. I'm saying this. It's possible they could win one or two games. Do I think they will? Would I bet on money on it? No. But they have their schedule. I mean, they got to play the Patriots. That won't be.
They're going to accidentally win one or two games. That's what I said at the start of the year.
Well, I'd rather they do that than you don't have to worry about the Chase Young thing. Then you can take Burrow or Herbert.
No. Joe Burrow is going to be the first player picked in this draft.
No, he won't.
He will.
I'll bet you a Jeff Ruby steakhouse dinner. You're crazy. You are insane.
Okay.
No.
The only way it won't be is if the New York Jets are the number one pick and they don't need a quarterback, and the Redskins are the number one pick because they don't need a quarterback. Any team that needs a quarterback is going to take him, because I can tell you what's going to happen here. Because if Joe Burrow goes in the Final Four to college football playoff and lights that up and wins a national championship, whoever drafts first has to take him.
Well, keep in mind, he coached Ohio State, and, that was pretty bad. And it was 2 years enough to really change it. I don't know, Mike.
What was that?
See. You used to rip on Ohio State coaching, the way they coach their quarterbacks, and you're right. But I think they're getting coached better. I think they're getting
exactly. So what's your point? You just agreed with me about him.
No, I didn't. My point is, is his career, is his ability, how they changed his mechanics in 2 years at LSU? Do you trust that? Is that something?
You know what I trust? They didn't change his mechanics. They just run more of a pro offense, which fits him, which is why he's an NFL quarterback.
Well, that shows how little I know. Okay.
Well, the last 45 minutes has shown that. All right, Brian, I'm going to take the Bengals in that Bengals-Raiders game. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Raiders. But the Bears will be at L.A. to face the Rams. The Rams are favored by 6.5 points, Brian.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams. This one, the point spread scares me a little bit. I just don't trust Trubisky. I mean, he had a good game last week, but I just don't trust him to do it 2 weeks in a row. So I can see the Rams winning by 7 or 8.
All right, I'm going to take the Bears in the points. What the hell? Because I don't think either team's going to score that much. And once again, I think the Bears are coached by a grown-ass man, and the Rams aren't. Scott, what do you think?
Well, he's over 30. So I'm going to go. I think the Rams are going to win. I'm taking the Rams on this. The Rams, their offense is a lot more prolific than the Bears. The Bears scored 162 points. The Rams scored 226. Their defenses are kind of close in points, but I think Jared Goff is going to play really well, and I know you don't like McVay, but I think he's a better coach than you realize.
He's not better than Nagy, and no, he's not, because ever since he's been figured out, he's lost.
Wrong.
Really? He's not going to make the playoffs this year.
That's playoffs. That's pretty good timing. I'm like, come on. That was good.
Not really, because that's what everybody's done on every talk show for the last 30 freaking years. Get some new material. God. All right, Monday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs will battle the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 4-point dogs at home, Scott.
This is. So I'm going to say.
What are you doing over there? This is I'm
trying to say this is I don't know. It's a tough game, but I think the fact that it's in Mexico City is huge for the Chargers, and I have no idea if that matters or not. So whatever.
Wait a second. Why does being in Mexico City play advantage to the Chargers?
I don't know. I said that. I'm like, you know what? That doesn't sound that smart. Why the hell would I say that?
Because it doesn't say that smart.
Okay. So I think the Chiefs let that game let that one get away against the Titans. And even though
no, you know what that game was? That was a grown-ass man football game where the other guy's a PlayStation coach. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure there was time you didn't play grown-ass man football, so come on.
Dude, I played indoor football in Evansville where we ran the ball 80% of the time and went 9-3.
Okay, so I think the Chargers stay alive with a victory here behind Melvin Gordon. There we go.
All right, Brian, did you already pick this one?
No, I haven't picked this one yet. I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I go back and forth on this because this Chiefs team right now, I don't think, they keep saying Mahomes is pretty healthy. I don't believe it. But I don't trust the Chargers either. So I'll take the Chiefs, but I go back and forth on this.
All right, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think this is a blowout. I just don't think there's enough around Phillip Rivers. And they're playing in Mexico City, which it probably helps Kansas City. That gives them probably 100,000 people cheering for them instead of just 40,000 on the Chargers home field. So I'm going that way. And my thing about Andy Reid is when you have a 2-score lead and under 10 minutes left, maybe run more than 10, 12 seconds off the play clock.
Yes.
Because that's what Andy Reid always does. Isn't it, Brian? I mean, it drives me nuts watching him coach.
Yeah, he has always approached that situation as if he's down 10. He's always done that, and I don't understand why. There's a difference between taking time and attacking and not taking any time and attacking. I don't have a problem with taking 35, 36 seconds off the play clock, and you're still running your offense, you're still attacking, but he just plays like he's down 10. I've never understood that.
And that's why he's never won a Super Bowl. Another person who's never won a Super Bowl is Scott Wilson. Scott, do you have any parting comments about Opie Taylor or anything?
I would like to say that our first grade awesome team. We've got a big game, 11 o'clock at the Coleraine YMCA. You want to see a battle? Let's just, there's free water and there's a lot of kids running around. So
also, if I come to this game, there'll be free water.
Yes.
Should I live stream this game for everybody out there listening?
I'm a little loud. I'm pretty intense. It's pretty intense. We play great defense.
What I'm thinking is this, Brian. Maybe I'll just show up to Coleraine YMCA Saturday and just follow him around like NFL Films does with the coaches, and we can hear everything he says and all the great coaching he does.
No, we don't want to. No, I may not. That would not go well.
I know. You're going to cuss. I know you. You're going to cuss.
No,
yes, you are.
No, stop. Damn it, stop.
See, you just cussed right there.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I know. Hey, when it's prim and proper time, we're fine. You, on the other hand, I'm not so sure.
I don't cuss. You know that.
No, never.
I've changed.
Nice. You could teach sensitivity training, Mike. You really should.
I've changed in the last 5 years since I started coaching high school football again. I don't say bad words. I might think one every once in a while, but I don't let them leave my lips. Now, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Yes, let's do that when we play host the show.
Unless there's always a caveat with this. All right? Unless one of the kids asks you, how did I do? Then I won't cuss, but I will be brutally honest, because anybody that ever asks me, how did I do, I'll tell you what I think usually.
Have you ever had like a player that you did not criticize at all for their play during a game?
Yeah, they're called the kids that sit on the bench.
Got it.
I mean, the truth is this, and you can ask about anybody that's ever played for me. If I'm not talking to you, I'm probably not real pleased with you, or I don't think you're that good. When I start talking to you, then you've caught my attention.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's true.
Yeah, because I can give you names now of kids that played at Taylor with us that I never, ever yelled at, but they stood with you during most games.
Yeah, I just learned under you, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, you've helped. I will say this, and in all seriousness, you're the best offensive line I've ever known, and you've helped me many times.
Scott only knows 5 people, Brian.
Yes, I know 5 people
that'll talk to him.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, hell, I've been told I was offensive before. Brian, any final great quotes or parting words?
Yeah, I want all the listeners to take this and write this down. When you're driving across America, you will get to certain parts where you're going to see the same tree every 50 miles. So either A, you're driving in circles, or B, the tree is chasing you.
Okay. You lost me like halfway through, but I'll just say, hey, that was a good one. All right. Do I have any? How about this? Scott, This is for you. Be who you are. Say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind.
Oh, I agree with that. Amen. Teach that. That's the truth.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Matt Andrews-Scavage will be off of sabbatical next week. We may have to do this show like a little earlier Tuesday. Would that be possible?
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday, because I got to go to Panama City. We will be in Panama City by 5 o'clock that night. I don't know how the internet connection is there where we're staying, because the team's got a game there. So we would probably have to do it Tuesday night at like 8 o'clock.
Are you going to that nude beach again with your family?
Scott, I don't know what beaches you've went to in Panama City. We don't go to a nude beach, but I am down to 190 pounds, and I would not have a problem with it right now.
Nice. I'm down to about 200.
I'm going to go lift weights as soon as this show's over. Today is triceps and shoulders day.
Now, that's something I would take you in. If you ever want to go do some powerlifting, I will smoke your butt.
Really? Because anytime a man's ever told me they were going to smoke my butt, I usually didn't hang out with them.
That's true. I've met
Scott, Brian, would you hang out with a man that told you he wanted to smoke your butt?
I got to be honest, just the fact that came up in conversation got me nervous. So I think I'm going to head on out.
Yes, sir.
Hey, tell you, Scott, Schmidt's so upset with what you just said. He's trying to get as far away from you as he can, so he's actually moving to Spokane, Washington.
That's the first place you should go.
If he goes any farther, he'll end up in the ocean.
Well, life isn't fair, so yeah.
All right, and Scott, if you want, what we could do is like that KS1 and that Logan Paul. We could just talk a bunch of crap to each other and do a YouTube pay-per-view boxing match maybe in the middle of summer and try to make some money.
Okay, that would probably cost me a lot of surgery on my face. I don't want to do that. I'll be very honest. I'm not stupid.
Hey, you know what? Neither am I. So that's the reason I challenged you.
I'm not. Now, if I was 20, I'd be like, and young and stupid, yeah, let's do that.
See, I can't with Schmidt because he's got the bad shoulders.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you angry. And,
I've never been angry. I'm always calm, cool, and collected. The 3
That's
C's.
Cool.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind everybody to hear us next Tuesday night at 8. Hopefully, Matt will be allowed by his wife to be on that early. We'll see. You can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Brian Schmidt, Scott Wilson, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.